Yeah, I'm really excited about our first comic up tonight. She's a good friend. She's super, super funny. Put your hands together for Jasmine Parniani.
I love being up here in a massive sweater. Cause I'm bloated as shit under here. My body is looking like Winnie the Pooh, and like none of you know. I love it. I've been trying to figure out how to relax a little bit more in my life. I've been thinking about getting a massage. But unfortunately, the one and only time I've ever gotten a massage in LA, I accidentally went to a rub and tug. And if you don't know what that is, that's a place that hands out happy endings. So what's crazy about it is I made a phone appointment. Oh, it is on. I was like, I didn't hear myself for a second. I'm losing it, obviously, and you guys get to watch. But yeah, I made a phone appointment, and then the lady was like, absolutely, come on in. Like, if anything, why don't you come in the next 2 hours? We're kind of slow right now. And I was like, yeah, no problem. I'll be right there. And I know I have a deep voice, so that might have been my downfall, but when I walked in, the 2 employees in the lobby looked at me like I brought a gun. They stopped, and the lady behind the counter goes, how can I help you? I said, I have an appointment. She said, you have an appointment here? Yes. Are you sure? Yes. I spoke to you specifically. You were the person who set the appointment. I recognize your voice. She then turns around and calls for an employee in her language. This guy comes bursting out of the employee break room, sweating, carrying a bucket. He then motions for me to come into a room. I come in and he's like, he doesn't even tell me, lay down. Take off your clothes and get underneath the sheets. He's just like, the gym shorts are fine. Lay down, and then he puts a washcloth over my eyes. Doesn't turn off the fluorescent lighting, so it's bright. It's bright in there. And within the first couple minutes, he's just pinching my leg, like this. And I hear the sounds of what can only be described as a woman coming, mere feet away from me. And so I peel back the washcloth and go, do you hear that? And he goes, no. No. And look, I've been gaslit by men my whole life, so I was like, yeah, you're right, chief. Yeah, no, I'm crazy. You're right. I lay back down. He's still pinching. And then I hear it again, even louder this time. This woman is putting on the performance of a lifetime. And so I'm like, do you hear that? And he's like, I do not hear anything. Please lay back down. And so I do. I'm a good listener. And for 45 minutes, it feels like a mutual hostage negotiation. Because obviously I don't want to be there. And also I felt like he wanted to mop up buckets of cum more than he wanted to touch me. If I'm being really honest with you guys. So I get up and I go out, I finish the massage. The lady behind the counter goes, well, how was your experience? I said, it was weird. And she's like, okay, well, make sure to give us 5 stars on Yelp. And I did, because I am a people pleaser to my core, and I believe in supporting small businesses. Months later, I go on a date with this guy, and I tell him this story on a first date, because I'm really good at dating. I'm extremely good. It's a first date story for sure. And he was even better at dating, because then he responded with, oh, we should pull them up on Rub Maps. Huh? There is a national directory of rub and tugs across the country. And this place had 11 reviews. Unfortunately, though, you have to have a Rub Maps premium account to read the reviews. And I don't have that in the budget right now. So I can't tell you what's on there, but you can check it out for yourselves if you want. So exciting, so great. Yeah, I'm trying to find more ways to relax. I used to have a really fast-paced lifestyle. I used to work in phone sales. So you have to think of Wolf of Wall Street, that kind of environment. I had 3 different stimulants in my system before 9 a.m. I would cold call 200 numbers a day without breaks. And there's some sayings in sales that really shape the mentality of the job. It's you're dialing for dollars, every no is getting you closer to a yes, and it's a numbers game. And me and my big brain thought, well, what if I applied that to dating? And unsurprisingly, I've met some of the worst and weirdest people this life has to offer. There was the professional photographer who had an in-home studio, and he took hundreds of his own nudes every single day. And then he would make me go through them with him and tell him which ones were my favorite before we were allowed to have sex. He also talked to me about Joe Rogan a lot. One time he sent me a text where he had photoshopped his dick to look like stained glass because I guess he thought it was a work of art. And I don't know how to respond to that at 11 o'clock in the morning, so I just like thumbs it in. Cool, dude. And then there was the guy who would only fuck me if Seinfeld was on. And I thought like that was a coincidence until one time I came over and the TV was off. And he intentionally turned on the TV and put on Seinfeld. I have been through so much in this life, but getting your ass clapped to a laugh track, really up there. More importantly, I've only seen Seinfeld in this position. I've never seen Seinfeld outside of that context. You know, unsurprisingly, I have a long history of dating the worst people. When I was 17, I was dating a guy named Chris, and we met at prom. He was working the event, so that's already not great. And one time he was driving me home and he was like, oh, I like you so much because you're so different. You're just so different compared to any other woman I've been with. And I'm like, oh, that's so nice. What do you mean? And he's like, I just like normally date skinny women. And I was 17 with a raging eating disorder and I was 50 pounds lighter than I am now. Now, granted, I've always been a sturdy girl, okay? I've always been built for tough, okay? Like I look like I could easily survive a famine. I understand that. But still, you don't say that to your girl. And in that moment, I was like, he should die. He cannot survive. He cannot live. Years later, I did check up on him, and the good news is he did end up joining the military because if I can't kill him, at least the U.S. government can. So, thank you for laughing at that. Sometimes people get real weird about that joke. It's 50-50, you know? Does anyone like to smoke weed in here? Oh my God, you guys are so brave. You're so brave. I stopped smoking weed not for health reasons, but just because I get too scared. Like I'll spend 15 minutes in sheer terror and then I just knock out cold. Like it's the worst. It's the worst experience for me. But you know, men always want to smoke weed with you as a woman. They're like, we should smoke. And they think it's gonna be like a cool, sexy time. Wrong. I'm gonna talk about death way too much. I'm gonna talk to you about how we're all just skeletons in a meat suit, okay? And no one's getting laid that night. So I'm not getting massages. I'm celibate as shit. I'm not smoking weed anymore. And then in my spare time, I like to come up and do stand-up, which is arguably one of the most stressful things you can do. So I really appreciate you guys being so kind and so nice tonight, letting me spend some time with you. So thank you guys so much. My name's Jasmine Parniani.